What's wrong with being a nice guy?
Is that a nice guy is a guy who inaccurately internalized a belief system at a very young age. I'm not okay, just as I am. So he's trying to do two things, very unconsciously usually. One is become what he thinks everybody else wants him to be, so he'll be liked and loved and get his needs met and get laid, hopefully, regularly, and hide anything about himself that might get a negative reaction from people.
A nice guy gets along. Yeah, do that. Yeah, I'll do that. They don't necessarily have discernment or judgment, not sure what they stand for or stand against. It's like, yes, 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 sure, yeah, hey. A good man has ideals that they stand for and they'll stand against, and when they're tested, a good man is not a nice guy.
So a core problem with nice guy syndrome is nice guys tend to be unauthentic. There's not a real them there. They're trying to become something, hide something, and that tends to make them fairly dishonest, untrustworthy, frustrated, resentful, passive-aggressive.
You know, good guys being a good man's a lot harder for good reason. Not going to be most popular. Not going to be always most affable. It also doesn't mean you got to be a dick or an asshole. It just means sometimes you got to go, I believe in this is for me, and that is not for me. And because that is not for me, if you do trespass into my space upon me and my family, I will do my best to cause consequences. And I'm going to let you know that. I hope that's apparent, because I'm not going to intrude on you. But if you trespass that, I'm going to stand up for it, and that we can talk our way out of that. Great. No, it doesn't always work that way. You know, and a good man's not looking for trouble. You know, but if it comes, and if he or something he cares about and those were susceptible being trespassed on by trouble, a good man does what he can to do to stop that.
I met a lot of great men, but and all those great men I met, I never met. There were no good men. And he said, after meeting all these great men, I decided I want to be a good man. And that's what I said. I said, I want to be a good man. People told me I was great for a long time, but it didn't give me, as I got older, it didn't mean anything to me. You know what I mean? And then I realized that being a good man is, it's worth more than being a great man.
Wow.
All great men are not good men, but most good men could become great men.
Yeah, it's true. So true. That's great.
Be a good man, don't be a nice guy. And what that meant in our world was, hey man, when you're confronted with something where you need to fit in and do something that's against your character and your values and beliefs, you don't need to be a nice guy. You need to be a good man, right? Something comes up, you need to stand up for something that you believe in. Be a good man, don't be a nice guy. And I think it manifests itself in every single area of life. I think it's a profound thing. Be a good person, right? You can, rather than just a nice person. Have a life of value. And I think where that comes from, this is why I think this event's so important. I think when you decide you're going to just be a nice guy and kind of blend in, you are now living with a false belief that you weren't born to do something great with your life. And you're supposed to exist. I think when you start to have this knowing that I'm supposed to do something great with my life, I'm supposed to make a difference, I'm supposed to have something, it doesn't have to be in big, whatever people measure as big ways, big Academy Award, small, you open the door for somebody who needs it. They're both great things in your life, right? And so I think people start to blend in the minute they begin to believe they've got no destiny, they've got nothing to offer, they've got nothing to contribute. And then all of a sudden, that's the disease. The symptom is they become a nice guy. The symptom is they fit in. Don't you think?
Because there's nice guys and there's good men. Like, nice guys are passive aggressive, emotional, no core values, backstabbing, not great husbands, not protectors and providers. And then good men are savage servants, confident, capable men who will stand in the gap and be ferocious, but who will come home to their kids, lay down and let their kids crawl all over them and love them up.
There's a good guy and there's a nice guy, or a good man and a nice man. Sometimes the nice man is the pushover. He's kind of a wussy. He doesn't take control of things. He's not responsible. So yeah, he's gonna acquiesce to whatever the hell you want, of course. But the good guy is confident, is in control, has got a great job, he's killing it in business. He will stand up for his family, for his wife. He'll do all of those things. A strong man, confident man, resolute man, but he's nice too. He's just a good man, not a nice guy.
I always tell people I'm not a nice guy, I'm a good guy. There's a difference. You know what I'm saying? Like if a little old lady is walking down the street and some guy grabs a pocketbook and you grab the guy and break his nose and break his arm, you're not a nice guy, but you're a good guy. You know what I mean? In life, it's all right to say no. You know what I'm saying? I'm not in this to be nice. I'm in it to be good. You know what I mean? So that goes back to your people pleasing. I'm agreeing with you. You don't have to please people. What it is you put your oxygen mask on first, then you help the person next to you, right? So it's the appropriate selfishness. You know what I'm saying?
I'm a good person. I got a good heart. I treat people with respect. Ultimately, I want the most that I can possibly get out of life. I love to love. I'm a good dude. Am I perfect? No. I got some of them imperfections over there. I got some of the ones from over here, from mom and dad. Okay, that's life. Of course. I'm gonna figure it out, but I figure it out without the want or need for problem.
A man is not a nice guy.
Yeah. I saw something online that said the difference between a nice man and a kind man. He said you don't want to be a nice man. It's okay for you to be kind when and where that applies, but you don't want to be nice.
That's the gentleman. Yeah. So a gentleman know how to come in here and say, hey man, you got my order wrong. I need to talk to such and such. And he's talking with a command voice. The tone of his voice, the seriousness of his face, the direct eye contact. So homie,
firm handshake.
Man,
speak.
Yeah.
It's a certain level of
that shit is so frowned upon nowadays.
That point gets across more than anybody compared to the say, man, give me my goddamn shit. What's wrong with you, mother? Well, that man discredit. Immediately.
Yeah, you'll be met with a lot of resistance.
A harmless man is not a good man. A good man is a very, very dangerous man who has that under voluntary control.
You said that a harmless man is not a good man. A good man is a very dangerous man who has that under voluntary control. How should people become more dangerous?
Oh, becoming more articulate is definitely, I would say, that's the primary array of weapons. So, I mean, physical prowess is something, and it's not nothing. That physical confidence that comes along with that as well. But the same thing replicated at the level of the ability to communicate and to think, and that's a way broader field of battle and opportunity. So this is one thing that isn't taught well, especially to boys. It's more important to teach it to boys, I would say, because they're more skeptical of the educational enterprise in general, generally speaking, partly because they're less obedient, partly because they're less agreeable. That's particularly true for disagreeable boys. And agreeable boys get higher grades independent of their IQ and their academic achievement, because they're easier to deal with. So what do you tell disagreeable boys? There's nothing that makes you more formidable than verbal competence, than being able to articulate, be able to think, to marshal your arguments, right? It's a battlefield metaphor. Get everything in order. Get all your information straight to marshal your forces.
You can't be a good man, a fully good man, if you're not a dangerous man. All right? To be good is to do good to people, and sometimes doing good to people is protecting those people. Often the most dangerous man in the room is the quietest man in the room. All right? And it's not about going out and lifting weights and getting a bunch of tattoos and wearing leather jackets and walking around with your chest and shoulders up, hulking around saying, I'm dangerous. That's very rarely is that a dangerous man.
You can't be a nice guy, you have to be a good man. And when you're a nice guy, you get taken advantage of, you get shit on. People fucking take your kindness for weakness. They'll squeeze the life out of you until they can't get anything more. And then they just leave you out to dry. and then you get left, kicked to the curb. But like when you're a good man, you stand on your morals, you stand on your values, you know when no is no and yes is yes, you stand on your word. And sometimes there's tough conversations that have to be had, and you have them, right? Sometimes you have to let go of people that aren't any good for you. Sometimes you have to be the bigger man in a situation and put your ego aside. Like, that's being a good man, and I haven't done that for a long time. I've been the nice guy. I've been taken advantage of for a long time, right? Like, I've always just tried to be a people pleaser. And that shit is draining when you're a people pleaser, Because it's like, I'm pouring so much energy into everyone else, and I'm trying to help everyone else, and I'm thinking of other ways to make everyone else's life better, and I'm not even putting energy into making my own life better.
It's very helpful for people to hear that they should make themselves competent and dangerous and take their proper place in the world.
Competent and dangerous? Why dangerous?
Because it's the alternative to being weak. And weak is not good. The people who shoot up the high schools, they're weak. They're weak.
How is it good to be dangerous?
Because it makes you formidable. And life is a very difficult process. And it's not you're not prepared for it unless you have the capacity to be dangerous. That doesn't mean that you should be cruel. It doesn't mean any of that. There's a statement in the New Testament, the meek shall inherit the earth. But the meek isn't well translated. It means something more like those who have swords and know how to use them but keep them sheathed will inherit the world. That's a way better way of thinking about it. You have to be powerful and formidable and then peaceful, in that order, right? And that's not the same as being naive and weak and harmless, which is what young men are being encouraged to be. It's like, that's a very bad idea. It's a very bad idea. Because naive, weak, and harmless means that you can't withstand the tragedies of life. You can't bear any responsibility. You'll end up bitter. And when you get bitter, then you get dangerous.
But one thing I'm not getting, there's a big difference between letting people do something for themselves and saying men should be dangerous. By dangerous, that implies I should be ready to threaten someone, to hurt somebody.
No, you should be capable of it. But that doesn't mean you should use it. There's nothing to you otherwise. Like, if you're not a formidable force, there's no morality in your self-control. If you're incapable of violence, not being violent isn't a virtue. People who teach martial arts know this full well, right? If you learn a martial art, you learn to be dangerous, but simultaneously you learn to control it. Both of those come together. And the combination of that capacity for danger and the capacity for control is what brings about the virtue. Otherwise, you confuse weakness with moral virtue. I'm harmless, therefore I'm good. It's like, no, that isn't how it works. That isn't how it works at all. If you're harmless, you're just weak. And if you're weak, you're not going to be good.